Hello everybody, and I'm hoping that you've all seen my post up on Facebook. I'm due to have my operation a week today, so I'm going to be a little bit out of circulation for at least 6 weeks. I actually am going to try and pre-record some of the videos for the kits, so the kits that I've got done, all I've got to do is get them posted. I'm hoping that before next Wednesday I can get at least another 2 videos done. But today we are going to be making this lovely card, and it's with the Kramer die from John Next Door and the new, I've forgotten the name of them, anemone flowers and leaves. So we're going to get started. I'm going to put the camera down and I'll go through what you've got in your kit and then we'll make a start. Right, so these were the 2 versions that I did. This one was using the Calypso flowers, and say this one we've used the lovely, no they aren't the anemone ones, the blossom flowers. I do apologise, I said they were the anemone, but they aren't, they're the blossom flowers from John Next Door. So I'm just going to pop these to a side and then I'll go through the kit. You'll all have got your envelope, so I'll pop that to a side. You've got your 2 pieces of white card, both exactly the same as squares, and I'll show you how to pop those together as we go. So you've got your large mount, which got various colours, so if I just say that I'll go through as mount 1, mount 2, mount 3, and then you can work out. I'm just trying to get my camera. I think that's better, isn't it? Yes. Just difficult to see. I'll go through them with the different colours. So you'll have your dark colour first as matte 1, then you've got matte 2, and then there's matte 3, which they just all come down in the, say, you know, each one is shade lighter. I'm just actually going to put the card just to one side so I can actually see what I'm doing. It's a while since I put these together. And then you'll have your 2 pieces of white card here, which we'll need for matting and layering on. You'll notice that one is slightly bigger than the other. So if you can see, there's a very, very narrow border round. What we'll be doing is we'll be working on the smaller white square to start with. So we'll just move those other pieces to a side. Let's get it. You'll all have your little bag of goodies, which will have your leaves and your flowers, your sentiment on, and your little square frame. All your little pieces that we're going to actually add to the back of the Kramer panels. And I've left the, whoops, those are all my flowers that were from another card, which I'll just pop to a side, which we won't be wanting those. Whoops, I've lost that one. Never mind, I'll catch it later. I've left you the cutouts from the flowers because these make lovely stencils, so you'll be able to use these for making backgrounds. I'll pop that away. So what we're going to do, I'll keep my flowers to a side and the leaves. For those of you that have got spray glue, you can spray each one of these. It's a lot easier. But for those that haven't, I will go through it using the ordinary tape and glue. I'm using a 3mm tape, and I need to go all the way around, keeping as close in to the middle edge, the inner edge should I say, not the middle edge. That sounds a bit daft, doesn't it? I'm tongue-tied. And then you will need to use just a little bit of wet glue as we work round. And we just go around all 4 sides, but no, as up to the edge. And these will catch your panels. And that's that one. So I'll do one panel using the wet glue and one panel using the spray glue, so you can see the difference for those that are going to use spray glue and those that are going to use tape. So this one, as you can see on the card, we start with dark, light, medium on the two outer panels and then reverse them on the inner panel. So I'm starting with the first panel, and I'm just going to take half of the tape off. You don't need to take it all off, else you're going to end up getting yourself all stuck up. And then we're just going to add some dabs of glue. Doesn't need to be much, but I'm just putting some just on the junctions. Just a few little dabs. You don't need to have a lot, it just helps to hold the card down. So I've just put some just on the junctions of all the lines. So I'm going to take now my dark colour, which is the dark green in my case. Make sure that you've got the linen effect on the outside. What we need to do is this middle line here is the line that we're going to go up to, and so we'll place that down so that there has gone on like that. I am now going to work on the opposite end. This is how I found that it was the easiest to work with, to get them all balanced nicely. Well, if I can get the tape off. Oh, I'll pull it all off. It might be a little bit easier than messing about. And on this one, I want the medium colour. I'll just pop these all into line so that I can see where I am. So on this one, I'm going to work on the medium colour. And again, just a few dabs of glue on the junctions of the lines. It just helps to hold it down as we go round. It just makes it a lot easier to just hold your card down. And again, linen side on the outside, and again up to this middle line. If you can work it sort of just about halfway across it, whoops, like that, and then it doesn't matter if you miss a little bit that way, as long as it's, as you can see, it is now showing those two colours. And now we're going to put the piece which is one of the light pieces, and you'll see that on the medium and the light you've got a narrower piece. This is the one that's for the middle. So again, just on some of the junctions, a dab of glue. And so this will just hold it down nicely. I know the craft mount is expensive, but it does last a long time. And I found that it's so much easier for doing something like this. I'm just going to run just a narrow bit just along the edge there in case it overlaps. It'll just hold it. And again, just down like that, and just dab them bits of glue off. And so that, as you can see now, is your first panel done. So I'll pop that to a side to dry, and this time I am going to spray the back of this one with my craft mount. And again, we're going to work from dark at the bottom, and then again, that's one, medium at, I think I've cut the wrong bit there for some unknown reason. I'll have to do it the other way. I do apologise, but I hope I've done yours the right way around. So, pop that way, and a medium one in the middle. Oops, I get it the right way around. I've got it the wrong way around. And then like that. So as you can see, that is a lot easier done with the craft mount. But as I say, it's just that I found that is so much easier. So again, I'll pop that one to a side. And now we'll go on and I'll do the last one with the tape again. These are beautiful dies of John's. I really love them. I say there was 4 in a set, and I love this Kramer. It is so versatile. You can do it, and it works so well for men's cards, and that's the beauty of these. They've got no definite gender. They'll work well with male, female, child. The child, you could make it as a game, like they do, where you can trace round the little lines. So you've got something totally different that you can use. So, oops. I'll let again if it wants to come off. I'll take it all off. I think it's a lot better than trying to mess about with just little bits. But you'll find your own way, which you'll find is the easiest. But as for this, I'm just going to take them all off. Whoops. So on this, we'll start with the pale colour and pop the first piece down. Again, go to the other end, and I hope you spot the deliberate mistake. I didn't put the glue on, but I will at this end. I forgot to put the little dabs of glue. And again, just on all the junctions. Doesn't need to be a lot, but just enough that it'll hold your piece of card flush and stop it moving around. So again, get the right side. That, and then again just a few little dabs just along the edge here, so if it just overlaps it does catch it. And again, pop that down. Doesn't matter, I know it sounds daft, it doesn't matter what it looks like on the back, because that is going to be hidden. Just wipe that off. Now what we need to look and see if there's any overlapping little bits that might show. No, if there is, we just need to undercut them. But I think those, the way I cut them, I think they should all be okay. So right, so we've got those two which are the same, and this one is different. So that will be my centre one. So starting with the small piece of card and one of the outside edges, you can use wet glue. I'm going to use tape, but that's entirely up to you. I'm just using tape because it'll be immediate grab for this video. But if you don't mind just waiting a little while to give the wet glue chance to dry, use your wet glue by all means. So, just going to go around all these. And nearly done. That we want to cut off very well. And there. So the tape just wants to be run just round the outside on all 4 edges. I just take the little bits off. I don't pull the whole lot off when I'm positioning. I find that it's a lot easier just to turn a corner alternate corners. And what we need to do is make sure that this comes right up to the very, very edge of the card. Doesn't matter if you even slightly overlap it. So press it down like that so if you can see it's right up to the very edge. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit over. Then pull your tape out. And then that's that one on. So this one we need to put on this side. So again, I just line with, run the tape around the edges. And just up to the edge. This is a really beautiful die. I just can't fuse about it enough. It really is beautiful and it's so lovely to work with. Right, again, just turning back a little bit. And the alternate corner, and I'll take the whole of that little bit off because it's... So we want to make sure that both the darks are at the bottom on this, and this time we're going to work on the opposite edge, and again line it right up to the edge and take that off. Oops, I've got a bit stuck to me. And if by any chance you've got any little bits of the under one, just trim, undercut across, because that these bits don't want to be showing on the when we mount it. So that there has done that. We then need to put foam tape on your middle bit. Now I'm hoping that I gave you foam tape. It's such a while since I put these together that I can't remember. So again, one piece down one side and one piece down the other. And one piece in the middle, just to stop it with the binder gap, just to pop it in to support it. Put that away. And again, I am just turning the corners of the alternate ones, taking the whole of the middle one off, and just dabbing that with a bit of glue so that it doesn't grab immediately. This takes the static off. So we now want to make sure that the dark is to the top, and we need to balance this so you can work with your lines here. So if you hold it down, I'm working so that it's balancing with that line and that line on either side. So start it up at the top, bring it down to the bottom. So as you can see, that now balances with that line, same line on either side, so you know that that is equally balanced. Take your pad off. So that, now we've got to that stage, which I think you should all manage quite easily. So we're now going to work onto the next size piece of white card, and that you can either put on with wet glue or with double-sided. I think now, because there was no wet glue on the other, I'm going to just use a wet glue to pop this on. But any good wet glue that holds firm, a good super tacky, is ideal. So do that, just a little bit squinched in the centre. It gives you just a little bit of wiggle room. So you've just got a narrow border all the way around. That should just slide across a little bit. And a bit too far. If at all, that's the beauty of wet glue, you can reposition it. And That's that. So now we've got it with just a nice little border all the way around. One thing that I haven't got, where have I put it? Just leave those to a side and, oh, it's there. It's all right. I was just looking for my other gems and that, and the foam pad. That's okay. Right, so we now go on to the main white card, which we're going to make up into our card blank. So take one of your squares of white, one of the big squares of white. You want to run in, I use the Easy Score board because it's just about right for a 2 centimetre border. Now I run it over 3 times. What I also do, so just bend it both ways before I put my tape on. And there's my tape. I run tape right up to the score line, because if you can imagine, every time you open your card, you're pulling on that score line. So I do both sides like that, and one on the outer edge. And you can decide at this point whether you want it to be a top full opening card, so whether you want it to stand that way or whether you want it to open that way. So we'll put this, the white one, I match up my bottom corner closest to me and make sure that that line is run straight down so it's equal. Hold it there and pull your outside tape off and just pull in and take your inside tape off. You can then just pull it back and then you've got your card like that. So on your dark card you need to run foam tape, and this is where it just gives you a little bit of dimension. So we'll go all the way around, and it's a 2mm foam tape. It's the one from that John uses. He has a, if you're on his website, he has a code that you can put into Virtual Plastics and you will get, I think it's 10% off your order. And it really is, it's super tape. And again, just 1 piece across the middle to stop it collapsing. And again, my little trick that I use is just alternate corners that I fold back. Take this full centrepiece off and run glue dabs, just dabs of glue down it to stop it snatching too quick. By doing it with these alternate corners, you can hold these 2 corners to position without it grabbing your card. So you can make sure you've got your bits there. You can balance it and see just exactly where your borders want to be. When you're quite happy with it, just press your 2 alternate corners that you've folded back and take your tape out. And so that makes it so much easier. It's not grabbing and you can get a perfect alignment. So these we're going to put on with wet glue, the next 2 layers. They don't need to be on foam tape. So just again, run your glue right along the edge, a bit in the middle, just so that it holds down. And again, nice positioning. These will be quite narrow. If you're uncertain, you can always try it first. Whoops, that slipped a bit, put it too far. And then put that down. So if you're in any doubt, you can always try it first before you put your glue on, just to see what border allowance has been allowed. Okay, wet glue on this one. And now at the bottom. And again, so I know that that's about the allowance that I left. So that's done that way. And this one, again, your main one on here wants to go on foam tape. You can do it all flat. There is no, because you get the dimension with the flowers. So if you want to do it all flat, it looks just as nice. So again, just run the foam tape round. Still don't know how John can just tear this tape off. It never works for me. I'm sorry if there's a noise. It's the wind, I'm afraid. It really is strong again here today. It's really buffeting again outside. I don't know whether it'll take the other part of the gate with it. So again, just make sure it's down. Alternate corners. Then take off your centrepiece and a few little dabs of glue. Oops, that one's folded back on itself. And then you want to work out, I want the dark at the bottom on this, so we need to work out just what the border is, which is about there. So that is the card so far. Now I'm going to pop the little frame together, and on this I'm using a 6mm tape, but you can use glue if you wish. The 6mm tape is just the right width to go around this border. And I'm afraid I use the blue tape for everything. I find it is so much better. Everything stays put. I don't know whether you saw John's show where he hung a picture frame, quite a heavy picture frame, up on a plastic frame, the divider on the show, with just the 3mm tape, and it stayed there. So it just goes to show how strong this tape is. So exactly the same again, alternate corners. It is, if I can get it off. That's it. I think I need to clean my tweezers. They're getting a little bit gunged up with glue. It doesn't want to come off. That's got it. And the opposite corner. Don't want to come off, does it? That's got it. Just overlapped it a bit. I think that was the problem. I overlapped it on the other one. That's got it. And this one goes right onto the outside of the frame, outside the dark frame. So you want to line it up on the corner that you haven't turned back and get it positioned square. Get that one positioned in. Then you can pull your tape off like that. And this is going to go on as a diagonal. Now you can just use wet glue on these, but I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of foam tape just on these alternate corners, just so that it doesn't drop down. Just cut two little small squares that will just go on those corners. Take that off, and before you put it down, you want to just work out where it's going to go. So mine goes, if I can just hold that up a minute so you can see, I'm using this centre line here as the guide, and it wants to go about 1/2 centimetre down from this junction, top and bottom, and that then gives you a perfectly centred triangle. So it's about there and on there And just got a dab of glue under here, and a dab of glue under there. It doesn't need a lot because you've got your foam tape on either side, and just hold that for a moment. So while that's just setting itself, I'm going to now take my Celebrate. I've just got stuck up then. Just going to add a little bit of glue around the edges. Doesn't want a lot. I mean, if you're using spray glue, you just give it a quick spray. And this then, it's just got a very, very narrow border of the green. Let me just put a little bit too much glue at this end, it's just squeezed out. Now my border's just a little bit too big at that side, so I'm just going to trim that down by eye like that. So I'll leave that to a side to dry off. I've got my flowers made up, but I'm going to show you, whoops, where have they gone, how I did them with these purple spare ones. And what I did was I just gave them a nice rolling with my ball tool on the back of them, and just pushed it down in the middle. These were the blossom dies, as I said, and these come as a combo pair. You have the stamp, which you can stamp your pattern on the top, and then the die you just overlay matching the registration points on either corner and cut them out. It saves so much time. Oops. I'll just do one. See which one? I think I've lost one. No, that's the one I'm looking for. So I've just put one together for you, and I'm going to use the glue glaze as it dries so much quicker. So just a nice dab in the middle. This is nearly empty, I think. That's got it. And then off centre these, and again, it was a great help, wasn't it, tipping it over. And then that one that way. Just press this down nicely. If you press it down nicely, I don't know whether you can see, by pressing it down, the petals come up lovely. And then I would just put a little gem in the centre, or some of John's pollen, or you could punch a little hole and you could put some of these stamens in. Could split this down and just maybe put 2 or 3 in. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. But that is how I've done all the flowers. Just move these to a side. And I will put these away, out of the way, so we don't get them all stuck up. And oops. I've got, what I've got? I've got one, a large, a medium, and 2 small. So I'm going to pop these on, but first of all I'm going to put Celebrate on. And again, we just want 2 little bits of foam on either end. So again, I'm just cutting this off my foam tape, just 2 small little squares. One on either end. And oops. Just a little bit of wet glue in the middle. And then this will balance. If you balance this, again, you can use, I'm using this line across here to balance it with, just above. It's the beauty of these, with having the lines, you can see I've balanced it along that line and just inside those two lines at either side. So you get it all equally balanced. I say it's lovely working with lines. Right, so I'm now going to add some of my leaves. And again, I'll use wet glue with these. Just a few little dabs. Pop that one there. I may have a few extra leaves to use because they've all been coming off when I've been doing the other samples. So don't worry if I'm putting a few extra ones on. May as well just put it on and have done with it. So, and then that one can come down like that. Oops. I'll maybe pop some of these little ferny bits in as well. Like that. Again, just a few little dabs of glue. It doesn't want to be a lot. I'll keep that one because I don't know whether I'm going to use that bit yet. Now I'm using pin flare to put my flowers on. It's entirely up to you. You can use hot glue. I'm going to pull my petals up a little bit before I put them down. Let's give them, they've got a bit flattened. You can use hot glue, you can use the glue glaze, you can use silicone or the pin flare. So I'm starting with the big one in the centre. Pull my petals up again just to give it the bit of depth. Again, just a bit of foam, pin flare on the backs. By using the pin flare, it just gives you a chance to just manoeuvre them into the position if you want them in a different position. So that's the small one up there, and then the little tiny one can just go the bottom. And then that one can just go in there. And do I want this under there? No, don't think I do want it under there. Maybe I might just have one little bit, so I might just cut that little bit off. Might just pop a little bit under there just to break that bit. And see my tweezers, I might just slide that just under there like that. Partially through the petals. Maybe do the same with the other, just so that it looks as if they're growing through the petals of the flowers, as they do in nature. Oops. And so there is our card that we've made today. And this was the sample card. I know the actual base card is bigger on the blue one. It's because I was using up some cards that I had. So I hope you enjoy making that. And don't forget, share them on Facebook, because you do get a chance to win a prize. We only had one shared from the last kit. So I couldn't make any sort of decision about giving a prize for them. But there's some lovely prizes to be had. They're either stamps or dies, or maybe some nice embellishments, but you'll certainly get a lovely prize. So don't forget, share them. Love to see what you're going to make. So hopefully by the time I speak to you again, I'll have had my operation. I'll probably be in a sling, but I want to try and keep ahead of everything. I've got quite a few of the kits made up as far as June. So it'll just be a case of getting the videos done to go with them. But happy crafting, ladies, and enjoy this video. Bye.